The very latest data happened while you were sleeping last night. Let's get you caught up. Here we have snow, rain, and ice. Ice is the big story. It'll be developing Friday across the southern plains, stretching from Texas to the Carolinas. As we go into Saturday, Sunday, lingering impacts begin to move from the south and dump heavy snowfall over New England. All of this, we're breaking down the timeline, the snowfall totals, the ice totals, the impact coming your way in this video. Welcome to Snow Bros. Meteorologist Matt Makins here, along with Brian Shields, updating some former videos. It is the 21st of January. Look, next week, we're still having this storm system on Monday impacting parts of New England. So a big time impact. What's the chance of just seeing at least an impact of weather? Winter weather, that is, in this variety. That's covering a huge swath of the country. Everybody painted in those reds. That's a very likely chance of at least having some sort of inconvenience due to this winter event. Watch now as we go to a major and extreme event. And those areas will be focusing on central Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma, and another bullseye here across New England, the DC area, into Kentucky on the backside of it. Two main focal points. Throughout this video, we're going to start toward the southeast, work our way toward New England. I'll break down the totals like this. Look at the snowfall from Colorado and New Mexico stretching across the central plains and going out toward New England. That's the swath of snowfall possible through the weekend into early next week. So updating what Brian has told you. If those alerts have gone off because you've subscribed, thank you so much. More alerts will be coming your way as we continue to update, especially these ice totals from El Paso to Dallas, Houston, Nashville, Atlanta, Charlotte, south side of DC, all have potential icing on the way. And in some cases, not just a little glaze, a major amount of ice will fall on a lot of the south. So we're thinking power issues, travel issues, all the dangerousness that comes with losing power during these major events, and then trying to recover because temperatures stay cold, and we'll have more on the temperature outbreak as well. In general, watch the flow here as we get into later Friday. Boom, there it begins to develop. Very heavy snowfall, Kansas, Oklahoma, icing from basically Oklahoma City down toward Dallas. There that system lifts out toward New England, and it lingers through the weekend into early next week. Really ramps up, a lot of energy with it, so we're going to dump some heavy snowfall in addition to wrapping in all of this cold, some historic cold in some cases, and all of that ice. So let's start off in the south and the southeast. I'll have the timeline, and then we'll talk about totals, and then we'll skirt our way up the mid-Atlantic into New England and eastern Canada. Here we are Thursday. Quiet, okay? Thursday evening. Looks great. It's still warm Thursday evening. Let's get into Friday morning. There's midnight and Friday, 6 a.m. Friday. Oh, 6 a.m. Friday, we have snow in Colorado through Kansas into parts of the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. Oklahoma City southward, so I-40 southward. We're still in rain mode at this point, but you're noticing things changing quickly. Let's get into the midday. This is right around the lunch hour, and now we're seeing icing develop from Oklahoma City to Amarillo back toward Raton, New Mexico. Rainfall throughout most of Texas at this point. And then north, that's heavy snowfall. So think travel impacts already developing by lunchtime along I-35 for one example, I-40 for another example. This is Friday evening, 6 o'clock. Things are getting messier here. A lot more ice begins to build up. Heavier snowfall. So coming home from work or school Friday, big air impacts there from, say, Wichita and Kansas City through Oklahoma City and now into Dallas. As we get into Saturday, this is midnight, Saturday morning. Look at that swath of ice. It covers El Paso to Dallas, north of Shreveport to Memphis, stretching out toward close to Atlanta and Knoxville by this point. Again, Saturday morning. We're wrapping up the week. Storm is ramping up. We're waking up this weekend and big impacts at that point. Continues Saturday at lunch. Here is Saturday at dinner time. We still have ice. El Paso, Dallas, Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, Columbia. We get into Sunday morning. Ice continues across a lot of the south. Again, thinking all those trees, power lines, travel issues, big time mess. Once we hit Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, we're seeing the system lift on out. But lingering impacts here. It may be Sunday midday, Sunday afternoon, and the storm has passed, but the ice hasn't melted. The snow maybe have scraped, but we can't do anything about that ice. It just sits until we can melt it off, and that may take quite some time. What about totals? We'll break this down as Brian and I usually do and just give you some guidance numbers, okay? This is the European model, first off, and it has snowfall from Amarillo at 6 inches, Oklahoma City at nearly a foot, Tulsa the same. Swath of heavier snowfall here along I-40. You go north of Memphis, along I-55, 57, and 40. We have deeper snow in there, and it crosses over the top of 64. That's with the Euro. So within this swath, yeah, we have 6 to 12 inches possible and isolated higher cases. Let's compare that to the American model, the GFS. And what's going on there? It places the snowfall more down to the south, closer to 30 and 20. And these totals, I won't even read them off. They're too big. I would be shocked if we get totals like this. But why show you? It's within the realm of uncertainties that we're still dealing with. That's why if you're subscribed, you'll get alerts in the future forecasts as we refine these numbers. We're not model readers, we're meteorologists. We're just showing you ranges of possibilities. So there's a significant snowfall for a lot of the cases here as we go into the weekend. Most likely a 6 to 12 inch swath covers somebody from I-40 down to I-20 and then goes up to the north from there. Okay, that's generally what we're looking at this time. What about ice? Ice at this moment focuses from El Paso, goes along 20 and 10. So there's 20 and 10 right in there. It just focuses on these areas. Some may pick up a half to higher than a half inch of ice. That's a tremendously impactful amount of ice. Think of this pointer finger sitting on a power line. It's just ice. Power line snaps, trees down, house damage. All that is going to be possible here along I-20. Some other areas, possibly around Atlanta and Columbia. So we're talking about along I-20 here, I-75, 16, 95. A ton of major interstates through these areas are just going to be covered in ice. And again, hard to treat that stuff. We can move snow, we can't move ice. Now, let's move that view, and we're going to just shift toward the southeast a little bit. So here's that Euro model, and it showed that heavier snowfall crossing to the north of 64, right? So in potential, Morgantown, Charleston, Fredericksburg, Richmond, Winchester, Roanoke, we're all looking at 4 to 8, possibly 12 inches of snowfall if the Euro comes and pans out to be correct. Compare that to the GFS, and look at that. Huge jump to the south. Uncertainties for the southeast due to the speed of the system exiting. How much cold air has arrived to change the rain to ice, hopefully little, ice into snowfall. Those are big question marks that remain. We're still several days in advance, and we'll keep you posted here. But if you look at the GFS, that's just a wackadoodle looking bullseye of snowfall there across the southeast. Details on that will come. But again, another area of 6 to 12 inches of snowfall is certainly on the table, and it looks likely based on a couple just model comparisons that we have now. Let's scoot even farther here with some ice, and that's kind of the same plume of ice, same swath of ice from Texas and Oklahoma I pointed out, but it covers Atlanta, Athens, Asheville, Johnson City, Knoxville, Charlotte, Winston-Salem. What's on the table here? Upwards of a quarter, if not more, ice accretion, ice buildup on every single surface across the southeast. This is kind of a model blended average. If we get that snowfall that GFS showed, you can bring this ice level down because it's changed over into more snowfall that way. But Euro is more likely than not going to win this case, and that means higher ice accretion there across the southeast. Big time problems. All right, we were focused down here on the map, okay? Now we're back up over New England. Let's go through a timeline. While you're watching the headlines, you're watching Brian and I here on Snow Bros, that's when the ice storm is really taking a huge hit on our southern neighbors, okay? This is Sunday at 1 o'clock in the morning. Here's Hartford, New York, Philly, Baltimore, and D.C. Snow is arriving, and it continues to push to the north and east as we go throughout the day. This is 7 o'clock Sunday. Heavy snowfall along I-70 and 80 and 95, now approaching New York City. Here's Hartford, Syracuse, Buffalo. Watch as we go to a Sunday afternoon. A football Sunday. Heavy snowfall has now moved into New England, and look what's arriving in Philly, Baltimore, and D.C. By Sunday afternoon, it's possible some of this ice storm moves across the nation's capital. That is certainly in the realm of possibilities to spread that ice and snow across the D.C. and Philly areas. This is Sunday at 7 o'clock, and we're still seeing the system really ramped up across New England and the Mid-Atlantic. Monday morning at 1 o'clock. Not an easy drive to work or school Monday. Monday, 7 a.m., Monday into the afternoon and evening. Maybe the evening starts to recover a little bit for the travel situation, but it may not recover until Tuesday or Wednesday. And once this system gets offshore, there's a possibility another one develops right in here, scoots offshore as a bomb cyclone to just add more insult to the travel issues that we're going to fear for Sunday and Monday. We'll have further updates on that potential bomb cyclone in future videos. But let's talk about totals here across New England, the Mid-Atlantic, and Eastern Canada as well. So snowfall totals. This is using that Euro model. We have 8 Boston, 9 Hartford, 10.5 New York, close to a foot, if not more, for Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. Another swath here around Great Lakes. Tremendous amount. Even on that Euro model, which has been preferred throughout the system's life cycle. Let's go to GFS. Even if GFS with more of a southern track is right, we still have more than a foot in D.C. So confidence of an impactful snow event in the D.C. area is looking high at this time. Boston at 9.5. So even the GFS, between the GFS and Euro, the two model comparisons here, there's a lot more consistency across New England and the Mid-Atlantic for a significant snow event. A lot more certainty there than there is across the Southeast for snow totals. Let's take a closer look here. Bring in some more folks. Don't want to leave anybody out. It is an impactful event. So here we have Alexandria at close to a foot. Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, Charleston, out toward Columbus. Anyone along I-70 and south of, that's a lot of snowfall. You move north of 70, get closer to 80. We're in a 6 to 12 inch range. Get up to I-90. We're still within a 6 to 12 inch range there. That's using that Euro model. Compare that to the GFS. Not a lot of difference. Both cases, and other models for that matter, are showing a high level of snowfall with confidence for the Mid-Atlantic and New England. Tremendous storm setup we have going into this weekend and next week. Finally, let's go to Eastern Canada, and you can see kind of the heavier snowfall that we have down through the New England. It's stretching on out. It goes over Nova Scotia, tries to hit Newfoundland with upwards of 50 or 60 centimeters of snowfall in some cases, and it's focusing right in here. Right close to Stephenville is kind of a popular spot for the snow machine coming in for this late weekend into early next week. What else is on top of that? Watch this. We've got this system. It's going to drop a lot of this cold air on us. Wave number 1 kind of arrives mid to late week. Wave number 2 arrives through the weekend into early next week. It's Arctic air. Just for an example, this is the icing issue. It's mild in Texas and Oklahoma and across this Delta region into Florida. There's the warmth as we go through Thursday into Friday. But remember, Friday morning, we're bringing in that cold. Now we're down to 10 in Amarillo, single digits in Oklahoma City as we go into Saturday morning and afternoon. That cold air is just shooting under a tremendous flow of water up above it. Heavy precip and a classic setup for icing, I'm afraid. So single digit temperatures possible into parts of Texas as we go throughout this weekend. Across the Northeast, similar situation, just a slight delay here. In terms of Celsius, we're well below 0 across the north, and that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but here comes even more cold. Now we're down to 30 below across parts of Quebec as we get into Saturday and into Sunday. Now we're 30 below, moving into the Maritimes. Across New England states, we have a lot of teens here late this week into the weekend. A lot of cold, record cold in some cases. So what are we tracking for you? And we'll have updates as the data evolves. The uncertainties are cleared up. Bottom line forecast comes your way. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Major ice event from Texas to the Carolinas. Major snow event from Oklahoma to New England. And record cold temperatures. What about the West? Very quiet there. But a lot of headlines are coming our way. For Brian Shields, Matt Makins here. I hope you have a good day.